Alone in a crowd, Billionaire whispers, "Be my wife." Her unexpected response left elite hearts mortified. Mia stood amidst the swirling opulence of Manhattan's elite, her hands steady as she poured a deep red wine into a crystal goblet. The luxurious gala shimmered with wealth-sparkling chandeliers overhead, laughter echoing like music to her ears, yet it all felt like a world apart. Each polite smile was masking 1,000 judgments, but Mia held tight to her warmth, her essence a stark contrast to the cold glitz around her. She thought of her father, seated at home, his struggles demanding her attention as much as the world she faced in this moment. And then, as if time paused, Jack Carter appeared. The billionaire reclined in his chair like a deity among mortals, his presence magnetic. He was known for his ruthless business acumen and an aura of mystery that captivated everyone. Mia felt a nervous flutter, but she squared her shoulders, ready to face the unexpected. As she approached, clenching the wine bottle, Jack's piercing eyes caught hers. There was something almost vulnerable about the way he leaned forward. "Be my wife," he murmured, the words electrifying the air between them. Gasps filled the room, and Mia froze as whispers rippled, sharp as knives. It felt like the entire gala was holding its breath, staring wide-eyed. Her heart raced, two worlds colliding. The prospect of luxury, of a life that could lift her father's burdens, danced tantalizingly in her mind. Yet beneath it all the raw truth of her life pulled at her like a tether. "I can't," she found herself stammering, her voice steadying, "I have responsibilities." She glanced away, the bitter taste of silence filling the air. The chatter around them resumed, ruthless and thick. Jack's expression warped a mix of frustration and disbelief. In that moment, she caught the eyes of a woman across the room, a buyer of diamonds, exchanging looks that screamed of envy. They thought him foolish, yet he invested something real in that bold statement, something genuine. As Mia walked away, she could feel the cool judgment of society pressing down. Her heart pounded louder in her chest, but she embraced the weight. It suddenly dawned on her that she was far more than just a waitress. She was a daughter, a caretaker. Could she step into a life that denied her roots? From the corner, Jack seethed against the constraints of expectations. Wealth meant little if it shackled him to a trophy wife persona he loathed. He was desperate, and it showed. His frustration mirrored the struggles Mia faced every day. Did she see the sincerity in his eyes, or was it a masked man seeking a plaything? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the gala swirled around her, a winter storm rolled into New York, blanketing the city outside. The snow piled high, isolating them in their respective worlds. Mia trembled against her morals and fears, realizing that warmth and connection mattered more than money or title. Would Jack be able to break through her defenses? And could she, in turn, set him free from his gilded cage? As she cast one last glance toward the enigmatic billionaire, a flicker of resolve ignited inside her. Their lives were tangled now. Could they navigate the churning tides of ambition and loyalty together? The night was far from over, and as guests whispered behind closed doors, Mia stepped forward, ready to define her own destiny. Mia felt her pulse quicken as she walked back toward the swirling crowd, her heels clicking sharply on the polished floor. The chatter hummed around her, a symphony of laughter and clinking glasses, but her mind was elsewhere, trapped in that moment with Jack. The weight of his words hung heavy, suffocating yet exhilarating. She tried to push the thoughts aside, but they returned, persistently gnawing at her. "Be my wife." The audacity of his request echoed in her ears, along with the sharp gasps of the elite guests. Mia was just a waitress in this gilded world. Who was she to even consider such a life? But then again, what was she afraid of? Living her life under the burden of obligation, chained to her father's expectations? The thought stirred a rebellious fire within her. If Jack saw something worth pursuing, maybe she had to take a leap and believe in herself, too. "Hey, Mia." A cheerful voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Sarah, a colleague from the restaurant. "You okay? You looked kinda shaken back there." Mia forced a smile, masking her turmoil. "Yeah, just one of those nights." "Did you see the look on Jack Carter's face? That was intense." Sarah's eyes sparkled with excitement. "You know he's got a reputation, right? He doesn't just throw those words around lightly." "Well, neither do I," Mia responded, her voice firmer than she felt. "I have a life to focus on." "Sure, but think about it." Sarah bounced on her toes. "You could change everything. You could have your own life. No more late shifts, no more worrying about bills." Mia brushed off the fantasy, but as she glanced over at Jack, he was standing alone now, deep in conversation with his business associates, his expression taut. Did he feel the weight of that moment too, or was he quick to move on? The gala proceeded, but her heart was no longer in the petty exchanges, the forced laughter, or the sparkling gowns. She looked once more at Jack, and a flicker of understanding passed between them, an undercurrent beneath the facade. In that moment, she saw him as not just a billionaire, but as a man seeking to escape, just like her. A whirlwind of desire and fear urged her to move closer again. Was there more to this outlandish proposal? Could they truly help each other, or was this mere folly? With a deep breath, she steered herself toward him, each step echoing louder against her resolve. The voices around her faded, and all she could hear was her heart racing. What was she about to do? Just then, the lights flickered, dimmed slightly, as if the universe paused for her decision. Jack looked up, his eyes locking with hers. The crowd swirled again, blurring into a backdrop, but in that moment, it was just the two of them. "Mia," he said, his voice low, earnest, and laced with urgency. "I'm serious about what I said." His sincerity cut through the noise, stirring something deep within her. Swallowing hard, she felt every question rise to her lips, yet they tangled in her throat. "And what if I say I can't?" His gaze didn't waver. "Then we both walk away with the weight of the world, but at least we'll know we tried." The tension around them crackled, charged with possibility. Could a careless moment turn into something real? As uncertainty loomed, Mia felt life's pulse quicken, and she asked herself, could she dare to leave her past behind and see what lay ahead? With the storm raging outside, a choice loomed larger than any gala she'd ever attended. Would she take Jack's hand, defying everything she stood for, or retreat back into the shadows of obligation? Drawing in a deep breath, her heart held its own silent plea, and then Mia took a step closer. Mia stopped, her breath hitching in her throat. In that moment, standing amidst the chandeliers and the laughter, the world around them faded further into a haze. She could hear the soft rustle of silk dresses and the distant clinking of champagne flutes, but to her, it was all noise. Jack's eyes were unwavering, filled with complexity and something more profound, perhaps hope. "What do you want from me?" The question slipped out before she could second-guess herself. Jack's brow furrowed slightly, as if weighing every word. "I want to share my life with someone who understands me. I see you, Mia. I see through the disguises we all wear." Those words hung between them, and she felt the very foundation of her thoughts tremble. Could this wealthy, powerful man really see who she was beneath the facade of her waitress uniform and the weight of her family's expectations? "But this isn't just a game," she said, her voice trembling. "You don't know what you're asking. My life, it's not glamorous. It's a struggle." Jack took a step closer, his presence radiating warmth that was both inviting and intimidating. "And who says a glamorous life is the only life worth living? I want to build something authentic, where we can be ourselves to lift the burdens we both carry." Her heart raced, twisting in both hope and panic. What if he was offering her a way out? A chance to escape the strings of her past? Still, fear of failure clawed at her. And if it doesn't work out? If I can't be who you need me to be? A shadow passed over his features, but he held her gaze, unwavering. Then we part ways, but at least we'll have tried. This fleeting moment? It could be the beginning or just a memory, your choice. With a surge of adrenaline coursing through her, Mia felt the last vestiges of doubt ripple off her shoulders like a discarded coat. She saw his vulnerability reflected in the glimmer of his eyes. Maybe he needed this as much as she did. The thought ignited a tiny flame of courage inside her. Okay, she breathed, tension knotting in her belly. Let us at least talk. I'll consider it. His expression brightened, the edges of his lips curling into a genuine smile that lit up his whole face. You won't regret it, Mia. Trust me. Let us get away from all this, he gestured toward the party, and find some place quiet. Mia hesitated for only a moment before nodding. They moved through the dancing crowd, all the laughter and chatter muffled by the electricity between them. They slipped outside onto the balcony, the cool air brushing against her flushed cheeks. The city sprawled below, twinkling like stars fallen to earth. Jack turned to face her fully. Tell me what you really want. In that moment, with the wind tousling her hair and the city's heartbeat thrumming in her ears, a part of Mia began to awaken. She thought of her responsibilities, her father's disapproving gaze, the life she'd led up until now. But did she want to keep living small? The questions piled upon her like stones, heavy yet revealing. What I want, she started, pausing as the weight of her dreams settled in. I want to break free, Jack, but it's scary. I've never. Jack reached out, taking her hand gently in his. You don't have to do this alone. Together, we can figure it out. Mia felt a rush of heat redistributing in her veins. Jack's hand was a promise, a tether to the unknown she was desperately curious about. Before she could respond, he leaned forward, his presence consuming her. What was she willing to risk for the chance of this new life? And in that electrifying chaos, just as she opened her mouth to reply, the storm that had been brewing washed over the gala with sudden ferocity, causing the lights to flicker more violently than before. Mia's heart raced. Did the world realize the significance of this moment? Or was it too caught up in its own game to notice that something beautiful might just be beginning? Mia, will you truly let me in? Jack asked, sincerity etched across his features. As she stared into his eyes, a world of possibilities unfurling before her, the storm raged overhead. All at once, she felt the weight of her decision settle, heavy and undeniable, as she faced the truth that would change everything. What if she was brave enough to allow herself to be loved? Mia's mind was racing, her heart drumming a furious rhythm in her chest. The steady rain began to fall heavily, drenching the world in an almost magical quality, and she was captivated. How could a moment feel so electric yet so terrifying? Jack's hand felt warm against hers, grounding her in this swirl of uncertainty. Will I let you in? She whispered, toying with the idea. The truth was terrifying. There was a lifetime of hurt wrapped around her heart, and she wondered if it was all just too much. Would he still want her if he saw the cracks? Yes, she said suddenly, feeling the surge of courage. I want to. What if I can't keep up? What if I'm not the woman you think I am? Jack's eyes softened, and he took a step even closer, creating an intimate barrier against the chaos of the party behind them. Mia, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for honesty. You said you want to break free. This is a chance. We can explore life together, at your pace. The way he spoke made her almost forget the storm raging above. She felt the air crackle with possibility, and she wanted to lean into it, to let herself be caught up in his vision of a shared future. Yet something pulled at her, a warning from deep inside. What if I fall for you and it all goes wrong? She asked, her voice trembling with the weight of doubt. You could turn out to be just another rich guy playing at emotions. What if you decide you've had enough of me? The flickering lights of the party seemed to mimic her own swirling emotions. Jack took a deep breath, as if gathering his thoughts. Then we deal with it. Together. Relationships are messy, Mia. No one knows how it will pan out in the end. But wouldn't you rather try than always wonder? She considered this, biting her lip. In all her life, she had avoided risks. It was safer to stay in the familiar shadows, to bury her dreams beneath obligation. But what if Jack was right? What if each moment led her closer to a richer, more authentic life? I'm scared, Jack. I don't know how to let go of what I've always known, she admitted, conflict now tearing at her insides. He hesitated for a heartbeat, then pulled her closer. They stood on that balcony. Just two people battling a storm, a million sounds of laughter muted behind them. Maybe we both need to learn how to let the storms wash away the past and start anew. The raindrops began to fall heavier, and she looked up, letting them soak her face. It felt refreshing, liberating. And perhaps this was how she could begin shedding the weight of her past. The feeling of Jack's presence might just anchor her through the chaos. Okay, she said, her voice stronger. Let us take this step together. But I can't promise it'll be easy. A smile broke on Jack's lips, genuine and warm, and it felt like a beacon in the deluge. Easy is overrated. Let us embrace the messy. Start this journey with a clean slate. Together. As the rain poured around them, Mia allowed herself to lean into Jack's warmth, a sense of belonging blooming inside her. Could this be what it felt like to step into the unknown, not as a scared girl, but as a woman ready to challenge the limitations she had placed upon herself? But just as hope began to flicker in her heart, a sharp shout pierced through the storm. A familiar face emerged from the crowd, suddenly, unwelcomely. Mia! There you are! It was her father, storming toward them, his expression a cocktail of anger and confusion. Panic shot through her, and she instinctively pulled away from Jack, the fragile connection they had just forged beginning to unravel. Mia, we need to talk. He demanded, oblivious to the storm around them. What would she say? How could she explain? As her father's harsh tones echoed in her ears, Mia understood that the battle was just beginning, and she felt the ground shift beneath her once more. Would she find the courage to stand her ground? Or would clinging to the past shatter the beautiful new beginning she was yearning for? Mia's heart raced. Her father's presence felt like a weight pressing down on her, forcing her back to a time when his opinions dictated her choices. She glanced at Jack, who remained silently supportive, his eyes filled with an understanding that pierced through her swirling emotions. Mia, why are you out here? You know how important this event is for our family, her father barked, ignoring the rain droplets that cascaded down his tailored suit. The contrast felt surreal. Here she was, on the brink of something transformative, while he stood there anchored in traditional obligation. I needed a moment, she said, her voice slightly steadier than before. I was talking to him. He cut in, glaring at Jack as if he were the source of all chaos in Mia's life. You should know better than to get involved with someone from his world. Jack remained still, his presence a lighthouse in the storm. Mia could feel the tension bubble between her father's expectations and her newfound freedom, and she bit back a surge of anger. She had continuously sacrificed her voice for his approval, it was time to reclaim it. Dad, Jack isn't just someone, Mia said, stepping closer to Jack, seeking the reassurance of his warmth. He's different. He understands me in a way that's new. Different how? Because he's rich? Because he plays at feelings? Her father countered, his voice rising above the sound of the rain. You think luxury and charm are what make a man? You need to wake up. That hit hard. Her chest tightened as she remembered all the times her father proclaimed success through money and status. It felt like a world she had tried to escape. Maybe I don't want to wake up to a life that isn't my own. She shot back, surprising even herself with the heat of her words. Maybe I'm tired of pretending to be anyone other than me. Silence hung in the air, thick with disbelief. Jack's hand tightened around hers, solidifying a pact. Mia looked up, meeting his gaze, and saw pride reflected back at her. That flicker of support pushed away her lingering doubts. "Mia, you're not thinking straight," her father said, his voice softer now, almost pleading. "You have a future. You can't throw it away on a whim." "But what if that future has me trapped?" she asked, tears brimming as the conflict surged inside her. "You've always wanted what you thought was best for me. This is my chance to choose, and I want to do it for me. One way or another, I won't be your puppet anymore." "Mia," her father started but faltered, the words faint against the downpour. "Please, just let me breathe," she begged. There was a flicker of concern behind his stern facade. The rain poured harder, almost as if urging them to face this moment head-on. Mia felt the warm pulse of adrenaline she was fighting for herself. Jack moved closer, his voice calm amidst the storm. "Your choices matter, Mia. And whoever you choose to share your life with should see all parts of you. If you're not comfortable with your past defining you, it's okay to let go." That simple statement settled over her like a bomb. Maybe she didn't have to defend her choices, but rather, embrace the unknown path before her. "I can't promise I have all the answers," she finally said to her father, her heart trembling as she wrestled with the words, "but I want to stop pretending. I want to find what makes me happy, even if that means stumbling along the way." Her father studied her, searching for traces of the daughter he had always known. But Mia felt a shift, an openness to the idea of her own happiness, no matter how rebellious it seemed. "I don't want you to get hurt," he finally replied, his voice softer now, but still trembling with concern. "I know. But you have to trust me, this is my journey. Let's not make it about fear." As the words hung in the crisp night air, she sensed an opening. Maybe there was room for reconciliation, but only on her terms. "Mia," Jack said, squeezing her hand gently. Then, from the depths of her father's silence, came a new question, one filled with uncertainty, but also a tentative hope. "So, Jack, what are your intentions with my daughter?" Mia's heart pounded as she awaited Jack's response, wondering how far this moment might shift everything they had begun to build. Would he see her father's concern as an obstacle or an opportunity? In that heavy pause, one thought pierced through her mind: would this night seal their fate or wave goodbye to a chance for love? Jack shifted uncomfortably under her father's scrutiny, and for a moment, Mia felt that all the strength she had found was draining away. She wanted him to say the right thing, to navigate this tension with ease. Every second stretched long and heavy, almost as if the rain were swirling around their fate. Jack started but faltered. His brow knitted in contemplation before he squared his shoulders, and there it was, the confidence Mia had seen in him from the start. "I care about your daughter, sir, more than I can express in this moment. I respect her choice to pursue her own path, but I want to be there, supporting her." Her father's face darkened. Mia's heart sank. A wall was rising, brick by brick. There was a finality in her father's demeanor that made her blood run cold. Support is one thing. Responsibility is another. Responsibility? Is this about the money again? Mia blurted, anger flaring within her. She could feel the tension rising, the crackle of emotions ready to explode. "I thought love was what mattered. Isn't that a better foundation than some financial comparison?" Jack's eyes flicked to hers, a mix of admiration and concern flooding his expression. The intensity in that moment held a promise, or perhaps it was a silent plea for her to hold strong. "Love is important," her father said, his voice steady, but the thunder rumbling in the distance mirrored the tempest brewing between them. "But practicality can't be disregarded. You think love can feed you or build a secure future? You have no idea what you're up against. I am fully aware, Mia responded, her voice breaking slightly. I've watched our family values prioritize wealth over everything else. But I'm tired of feeling boxed in by those values. Her breaths were coming in quick gasps now, and the world around them felt unbearable. Is this how you really want to live? Her father asked, desperation creeping into his voice. Chasing after someone because it feels good right now? Mia turned her head sharply, feeling Jack's presence grow stronger beside her. It's not just about chasing feelings, she said. It's about finding joy in a world that continually tried to dictate my choices. Jack offers something real, he offers me a chance at being true to myself. The rain poured down harder, and she shivered as a chill ran through her. But it wasn't just the cold her heart felt exposed, on the verge of chaos. Jack's voice cut through the noise around them. He leaned closer, his eyes searching hers. You don't have to justify your feelings. Not to him, not to anyone. What matters is that they are yours. In that moment, everything fell away. The pounding rain, her father's anger, it all faded to silence. She had the freedom to choose. No one could take that from her. Yet, fear crept back in, whispering its familiar doubts. Will you be there for me, no matter how this goes? She asked Jack, her voice trembling slightly. Always, he replied, unwavering. The sincerity in his tone ignited a flicker of warmth deep within her. Mia turned back to her father one last time. I'm not here to ask for permission. This is my life. I want to shape it. Can you at least respect that? For a fleeting moment, she thought she saw a crack in his armor, a hint of understanding. But then his expression hardened again. This isn't going to end well. You think it's just about love, but life is far more complicated. Mia felt her heart sink as she faced the reality. The path ahead was muddied with uncertainty. The night hung heavy with choices left hanging, and as a sudden flash of lightning illuminated the sky, it felt like a sign. Jack tightened his grip around her hand, a silent vow exchanged between them. But beneath it all, anxiety clawed at her gut. What awaited them when the clouds cleared? Was there a chance she could truly carve her own future, even beyond her father's fears? As they stood there, drenched and trembling, the air thick with emotion, another question loomed larger than ever in her mind. Were they ready to face the world together, regardless of what came next? Mia felt the weight of her father's words hang in the air, thick like the humid summer rain. Each drop that landed seemed to echo the dread that settled in her heart. Jack remained close, his warmth anchoring her as they stepped into the unknown. The world felt vast, yet they stood trembling at the precipice, two souls bound by a promise but facing an uncertain horizon. Let us go, Jack murmured, his voice cutting through her spiraling thoughts. With a swift pull, he led her away from the scene of confrontation. The rain pounded harder, but a flicker of defiance ignited within her. Couldn't her courage be a shield against her father's doubts? They wound their way down a side street, the glow of street lamps flickering above them. Each step away from her father felt both liberating and terrifying. As they turned the corner, the sound of the storm mingled with Jack's voice, soft and reassuring. You're not alone. We can figure this out together. Mia nodded, trying to absorb his confidence. But what if he's right? What if love isn't enough? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. She felt vulnerable, stripped of the armor she had built around her heart. Love is what we make of it, Jack replied, holding her gaze. But it can't only be love. We need to work together, to build a life that can withstand storms figuratively and literally. It was as if he carried all the answers within him. There was something steady and unyielding about Jack that drew her in. She hoped she could be as strong as he seemed, but doubt gnawed at her like a rabid dog. They paused under a roof awning to avoid the downpour. The rain drummed against the metal above them, each beat a reminder of the chaos surrounding their situation. I don't want to disappoint him. I never wanted to be a burden. Her voice quivered, and Jack squeezed her hand, grounding her in the moment. You're not a burden, Mia. You deserve to be happy. We deserve to be happy, he insisted, pulling her closer. The warmth radiated from him, melting away some of her fears. But even as she wanted to believe him, the reality of their situation loomed like dark clouds above. They were caught between two worlds, his, built on love and aspiration, and hers, barricaded by tradition and expectation. Maybe I should talk to him more, she ventured, uncertain. Explain how I feel. Maybe then he'll understand. Jack's expression faltered, a flickered shadow passing over his face. You can try, he said slowly, but if he doesn't respect your choices, just remember you can't change him. You can only change how you respond. Doesn't it matter how he feels? She countered. He's my father, Jack. Of course it matters. Jack responded, his voice rising slightly. But your happiness matters, too. Family can't dictate who you love or how you choose to live your life. You have to do what's right for you. That's the only way to break free. His words lingered, filling her with unexpected strength. She had always viewed her father's love as an anchor, a force to be reckoned with. Why had she never thought of her own desires as equally formidable? Standing together in that narrow alley, drenched but defiant, Mia felt the pulse of something new building within her. Maybe there was a way to reconcile her father's expectations with her own dreams. Suddenly, her phone buzzed in her pocket, jolting her from her thoughts. She pulled it out, glancing at the screen. An unfamiliar name glowed back at her: Evelyn Talbot, an acquaintance from her parents' circle. But why now? With a deep breath, she answered. Hello? Mia, it's Evelyn. I heard about the uproar concerning Jack. Can we talk? There's something important you need to know. As Jack's expression turned curious, uncertainty swirled in Mia's mind. Were they about to uncover answers that could alter everything they had just fought for? She felt the tension in the air crackle again, this time with a sense of possibility. I'll listen, she said, wondering how this thread would tug on the fabric of her life. The rain continued to pour, washing away no answers but promising that the night was far from over. What could this conversation reveal about her choices and what lay ahead for their love? Mia. I'm so glad you picked up. Evelyn's voice was bubbly but carried an undercurrent of urgency. We need to meet in person. It's about Jack. Mia stiffened, her heart skipping a beat. What about him? She asked, forcing the words out through the knot in her throat. Jack stood beside her, brow furrowed, sensing her sudden tension. Can you meet me at the cafe on 5th? I promise it won't take long, Evelyn urged, her tone shifting to something more serious. It's important. Mia exchanged a quick glance with Jack. The cafe was just a few blocks away, but every step seemed to stretch time. Somewhere deep inside her, a whisper of dread mixed with curiosity bubbled to the surface. Why did this feel like a landmine about to explode? Okay, I'll be there, she replied, determination pushing through the whirl of emotions inside her. As they neared the cafe, each footfall felt heavier. The rain had slowed, leaving only a curtain of mist hanging in the air. Jack linked his arm through hers, a grounding sensation in this whirlwind moment. Are you sure you want to do this? He asked softly, his voice laced with concern. Mia nodded, though doubt flickered in her eyes. I need to know what she has to say. If it's about you, it could change everything. They stepped inside the cafe, the warmth wrapping around them like a blanket. The familiar smell of coffee lingered in the air, mingling with the scent of pastries. Mia spotted Evelyn at a corner table, her fingers dancing over her phone. Mia. Over here. Evelyn waved, her shimmering blonde hair glistening under the cafe lights. As they approached, Mia's heartbeat raced. "What's going on, Evelyn?" she asked as they sat down. Jack slid into the seat beside her, his presence a silent promise of support. Evelyn leaned closer, lowering her voice. "I don't know how to say this without sounding dramatic, but your father isn't the only one concerned about you and Jack." Mia felt heat rise in her cheeks. "What do you mean?" "There are whispers, rumors that could affect Jack's family. And your relationship. You might want to prepare yourself," she warned, concern etched in every feature. "What kind of rumors?" Jack asked, his instinct to protect Mia evident in the sharpness of his tone. Evelyn hesitated, glancing around as if the walls had ears. "That your love story isn't just a love story. People are saying your father has plans that involve more than family honor. He's tied into something dangerous, Mia." Mia's stomach twisted. "What? Dangerous how?" "There are wealthy individuals who depend on your father's influence," Evelyn explained, her voice barely above a whisper. "If he feels threatened by your relationship with Jack, those individuals may take action. You need to tread carefully." The room felt suddenly smaller, filled with weighty silence. Mia's thoughts raced ahead, painting a picture she never wanted to see. Could love truly be at risk from a world she thought she could escape? Jack's hand tightened around hers, his expression intense. "Whatever happens, we face it together," he said, steadying her. But how could love withstand the silent menace lurking beneath the surface of her father's ambitions? Mia took a deep breath, feeling the walls close in around her. Each word in the room now felt charged with potential disaster, echoing her deepest fears. "What do we do now?" Mia asked, her voice barely above a whisper. As Evelyn opened her mouth to respond, a sudden commotion erupted from outside. A figure stumbled in, drenched from the rain and agitated. Mia turned just in time to see a familiar face twisted in panic. Their world was about to shift again. Could this interruption be the spark that leads to a revelation, or would it plunge them deeper into uncertainty? The door burst open, and for a moment, Mia thought she was seeing things. It was Sarah, her childhood friend, the one who had vanished from their lives a year ago without a trace. Her hair was disheveled, clothes soaked and clinging to her skin. The once vibrant spark in her eyes was now shadowed by fear, making Mia's heart race. "Mia! Jack!" Sarah's voice cracked as she staggered toward them, panic evident in every line of her face. "What happened?" Mia asked, her instinct kicking in. She felt Jack's grip tighten on her hand, concern blossoming in his eyes. "They're coming for me," Sarah gasped, her breath quickening. I saw something I shouldn't have." Every patron in the cafe paused, some instinctively looking away, others straining to listen. Mia felt the atmosphere shift, thickening with urgency. She motioned for Sarah to sit, her heart pounding against her ribcage. Evelyn leaned back, letting Mia take charge. "Tell us what you saw," Mia urged gently, the concern swelling within her chest. "There's a deal." Sarah glanced around the cafe, voice low and shaking. "Your father, his contacts in the city, they're involved in something major, something illegal. I saw a shipment being prepared. Weapons, drugs. I don't know what it is, but it's dangerous." The words hit Mia like a punch to the gut. She shared a quick glance with Jack, who wore a mix of horror and disbelief. "Are you sure?" Jack asked, his voice steadying despite the storm brewing in his mind. "Positive. I was at the docks and saw everything. My gut told me to run. I came to warn you." The weight of Sarah's revelations pressed down on them. Evelyn's fingers curled tightly around her cup, her face pale. "So, this is what Evelyn meant," Mia said, her voice trembling. "My father's plans are tied to crime." Sarah nodded once, tears spilling down her cheeks. "I don't know how deep this goes. But they'll do whatever it takes to silence me. And it could start with you. Mia's mind raced back to everything her father had told her, the veiled threats in his voice, the coldness of his gaze when he spoke of loyalty. What are we going to do? Evelyn asked, her eyes wide with fear. The cafe, once a haven, now felt like they had stumbled into a lioness' den. I can't let this happen, Mia whispered, determination flaring inside her, even as the terror clawed at her throat. I won't let them hurt my friends or Jack. Jack nodded, his jaw set. We head to the police. We get proof and protect Sarah. Then we cut your father out. No. Sarah insisted, gripping Mia's sleeve. You don't understand. If he finds out you're involved, it'll put you all in more danger. Suddenly, the cafe door swung open again, and a man stepped inside, his presence commanding and sharp. Mia's breath caught in her throat. This was no ordinary newcomer. His tailored suit screamed power and wealth, yet there was something predatory in his gaze as he scanned the room, landing on them. Sarah, he called, his voice smooth, yet laced with menace. I think you've had enough time. Panic surged through Mia. It was as if the walls had begun to close in, her heart racing faster than ever. Get down. Jack shouted, pulling Mia and Sarah behind the table just as the atmosphere crackled with impending danger. What was happening? Who was this man? And could they find a way out before it was too late? As the straining silence enveloped them, Mia could feel the weight of decisions pressing down on her. Love, loyalty, and the specter of fear hung in the air like the brewing storm outside. Where would all this lead? Would they find a way to fight back, or would fear keep them shackled in silence? In that moment, Mia realized the stakes were much higher than she had ever imagined, and their next move might decide their futures. Was this the beginning of a fight for their lives, or merely the first step down a darker path they couldn't escape? Mia's breath caught in her throat as Jack pulled her tightly behind the flimsy cafe table. The man in the tailored suit loomed in the doorway, his icy gaze piercing through the haze of confusion and terror. The air felt charged, electricity crackling around them as Sarah whispered desperately, "What do we do?" "We have to get out of here," Jack said, his voice a low, urgent whisper. He glanced back at Mia, resolution sweeping across his face. Stay close. The cafe was now a pressure cooker. Patrons huddled low, eyes darting between Mia, Jack, and the man who represented a world that had brutally collided with them. With a swift glance out the window, Mia saw the rain still pouring, the streets slick and treacherous, an illusion of safety in the chaos. "We can't let him take Sarah," Mia declared, adrenaline surging through her. "She knows too much. If they get her, it's over. We can't confront him directly." "We need to be smarter," Jack replied, thinking on his feet. "Trust me, I have a plan." But before Mia could speak, the man moved further into the cafe, scanning the room like a predator seeking its prey. "Sarah," he called with a voice that dripped with cold authority. "You're only making this harder on yourself." Panic surged anew. The other patrons remained frozen, but Mia's focus narrowed. The man was closing in, and they couldn't linger here for much longer. "Follow my lead," Jack said, determined. "When he turns, we'll make a run for the back exit." Mia's heart raced, but she felt the warmth of Jack's hand reassuringly squeezing hers. The world outside felt both liberating and terrifying. Anything was possible, but escape had a cost. They needed to move now. With a sudden movement, Sarah let out a squeak of fear that drew the man's attention. "You think you can just escape, don't you?" he taunted, a menacing grin illuminating his sharp features. "Go," Jack urged, and in a blur of motion, they scrambled from behind the table, heading toward the back door. Just as they reached it, the man lunged forward, but Jack flew into action, pushing Mia through the exit ahead of him. They burst into the rain-soaked alley, the cold wind biting at their skin. "Keep running," Jack shouted, and they sprinted down the narrow path, pursuers echoing behind them. Mia's breath came in ragged gasps as her fear morphed into an electrifying determination. "This way!" Sarah shouted, taking a sharp turn onto another street, the three of them weaving through the shadows. Jack led the charge while Mia kept a tight grip on Sarah's hand, relying on their energy to fuel her own. Suddenly, flashes of blue and red lights illuminated the darkness. Police sirens wailed in the distance, a symphony of safety as hope flickered inside her. They dashed toward the intersection, a momentary pause to gather themselves behind a corner. "Do we tell them everything?" Mia asked, her pulse thrumming with uncertainty. "Absolutely," Jack said, his voice steady despite the chaos. "We don't know how deep this goes, but we can't let her face the consequences alone." "Are you sure?" Sarah's question trembled with anxiety. "What if we put you in danger too?" Jack stepped closer, intensity reflecting in his eyes. "The only danger is staying silent. We do this together." Taking a deep breath, Mia felt a wave of bravery wash over her, a bulwark against the storm brewing in her heart. They needed an ally, and connecting with the police could possibly serve as their lifeline. "Let us go, then." As they neared the police station, the adrenaline surged through Mia like wildfire. This was a battle worth fighting not just for Sarah, but for themselves. They burst through the station's doors, faces still dampened by rain but brightened by urgency. "We need help," Jack called out, his voice steady and commanding the attention of an officer nearby. Mia watched as the officer stepped over, eyebrows raised in concern. "What's the situation?" "Threats to our lives," Sarah panted, her eyes wide with the weight of fear. "We need to report a crime that might go deeper than what we understand." Within moments, uniforms began to swarm. Around them, supporting the frightened trio as they began to share the haunting details of what Sarah had witnessed. Each revelation was shared with elevated urgency, drawing the attention of higher-ranking detectives and specialists. Mia felt a sense of relief wash over her, knowing they were no longer alone in this fight. They were fighting for their truth, fighting for what was right, but more importantly, they were standing together, united against the chaos of their pasts. As they recounted the details, Jack's gaze never left Mia. His support, compassion, and steady presence acted as a beacon, guiding her through this tumultuous storm. They had forged a connection that couldn't be broken, no matter the paths they would face. When Sarah finished speaking, the detectives exchanged glances, concern flooding their expressions. "We're taking this seriously," one of them finally said. "We'll need to ensure everyone is safe. But first, we need to corroborate everything you've said." Just then, a frantic voice cried out from the back of the station. A wild-eyed man rushed forward, shouting Sarah's name. Mia recognized him, her heart dropping. His face was a mirror of her own father's, twisted with alarm. "Sarah, you don't understand. You need to come back," he pleaded, eyes darting anxiously. "It's not what you think." Mia glanced over at Jack, whose stance hardened with instinctive protectiveness. "Who are you?" Jack demanded, stepping in front of Mia and Sarah. "This doesn't concern you." The man barked, but an officer quickly interceded, pushing him back. Taking a steadying breath, Mia felt the ground beneath her shift once more. Would she succumb to fear of her past or stand in defiance of all that had tried to define her? Choices surged forward, branching into a tumult of futures ahead. "Stop right there," she called out, feeling the strength swell inside her. "I will not go back. Not now. Not ever. You can't control me." With those words, a weight lifted. She was no longer the girl trapped under obligation, but a woman with her own voice and power. Jack's eyes blazed with admiration, and as the dust of the moment settled, Mia sensed that they could forge a new path together. In the aftermath of their confrontation, there was a world waiting for them, full of love, courage, and determination. Whatever came next, Mia knew they would face it together, hand in hand, forging a bond that could withstand even the fiercest storm, turning shadows into a brighter future. And so, they stood resolute amidst the chaos, ready to embrace the next chapter of their lives. Their story had only just begun. Now, as their journey unfolded, this was the moment for you to support the evolution of stories just like this. Don't wait one more second. If you want to see how Mia and Jack's adventure continues, you need to subscribe immediately. Hit that button now to keep these compelling narratives coming your way. And hey, your support matters. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and share your thoughts in the comments. Tell me how you felt about Mia's transformation and this intense conclusion. Lastly, don't hesitate, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear this inspiring tale. Only true fans know the power of support. Let us spread the message of hope and freedom together.